Good evening. Welcome to Investigator News. This is Investigator News World News, and we got a big report tonight, a big one. I might run all the way through to me going from news to trivia tonight. I didn't expect it. Um, I want to give you a really good up to date what's going on in Israel. And alert attacks continue against our troops in the Middle East. American bases in Iraq and Syria have taken at least 46, could be 48 at this time. Um, 56 members have been hurt, including traumatic brain injuries, some still in comas. Will they live? Asks the family members. And there's real concern that a major strike could drag America into a conflict. Um, at the White House says that they're working to stay out of our U.S. military presence in the region and is already strong. More than 17,000 military personnel have been deployed in the last month. Um, Boy, folks, if so, Syria and Iraq, I mean, is a pretty good size. But when you look at that many attacks on our bases, they're spread out. There's about, I think, 10 of them. Why aren't we doing anything? I mean, if there was that many attacks in the United States, would this administration just sit idly by and say, well, we'll do a few drone attacks? No, we would want them to blast them out of the water, basically. They're working on it, and they say the region is strong, more than 17,000 military personnel. But what are they doing? You could put a lot of personnel there, but if you're not going to protect them with ships and planes and army and, I would have to ask William on this one. But usually, if we had that many strikes, usually there's an action or reaction. They did the action, now there should be a reaction. How many is going to be before we do something? Now, the personnel have been deployed in the last month, they say. U.S. naval ships and now surrounding the Middle East with thousands of Marines and sailors on board a nuclear power submarine somewhere in the waters below. And I said, really? So what do we got here? This is what we got.
Don't buy another pair of glasses.
Well, we don't want to buy. Oh boy, I'm gonna silence this and I'm gonna wait. But we have got. They're saying nuclear. We don't need the commercials. Um, we have nuclear submarines over there. If we even heard about that yet? I hadn't until now, when I had to look at Israel to find out who's protecting Israel and what's in the water besides the ford. And now I'm hearing that we have got submarines in the water. All right, stupid advertisement. Oh, I hate those. All right, here we go.
Los Angeles-class submarine, truly the U.S. Navy's best sub ever? Comprising over half of the U.S. Navy's fast attack submarine fleet to this day despite their age, the Los Angeles-class submarine has been in service since 1976. The Navy's workhorse, there are more Los Angeles subs in service, 33, than any other type of submarine in the world. 62 have been built in total, some of them, including the USS Dallas, USS Jacksonville, and USS Bremerton, served for nearly 40 years before being decommissioned. Los Angeles-class submarine, the specs. The top speed of Los Angeles remains classified, although we know the sub can exceed 25 knots. Some estimates place the sub's top speed at 30 to 33 knots. Renowned military author Tom Clancy guessed that the Los Angeles could hit 37 knots. Regardless, the Los Angeles is a fast boat. To achieve these speeds, the Los Angeles relies on a General Electric S6G pressurized water reactor or 165 megawatt reactor driving two 26 megawatt steam turbines. Los Angeles class submarine, the weapons. The Los Angeles isn't just fast, it also packs a punch. The sub can carry about 25 torpedo tube-launched weapons, including Tomahawk cruise missiles and Harpoon missiles. Additionally, the Los Angeles can deploy Mark 67 and Mark 60 captor mines. The systems used to control the Los Angeles' weapons have changed many times over the boat's 5 decades of service. Initially, the boat was designed with the Mk-113 Pargo system, but eventually, the Mk-113 was replaced with the Mk-117 FCS, the first all-digital fire control system. The Mk-117 was phased out, too, in favor of the Mark I Combat Control System / All-Digital Attack Center. The Mk-1, a Lockheed Martin product, allowed the Los Angeles class to fire Tomahawk missiles. And finally, the Mk-1 was replaced with Raytheon's Mk-2, which allowed for vertical launching capabilities. Los Angeles class fiction. The Los Angeles class has been a fixture in popular culture. Tom Clancy, especially, featured the Los Angeles submarine prominently. In Clancy's The Hunt for Red October, perhaps the seminal work of fiction involving modern submarine warfare, the USS Dallas is vital to the plot. He also includes the USS Chicago in Red Storm Rising and the USS Cheyenne in SSN. Clancy discusses the USS Miami in depth during the 1993 nonfiction book Submarine, a guided tour inside a nuclear warship. Curiously, in 2012, while the Miami was undergoing scheduled maintenance, a fire broke out. The blaze lasted 12 hours and injured 7 firefighters. Repairs would cost $450 million. Initially, the fire was attributed to industrial vacuums. Later, however, a civilian painter, KCJ Fury, was indicted and sentenced for arson after confessing to starting the Miami fire. Apparently, Fury started the fire because he wanted to go home from work early. End of the line. The Los Angeles class was scheduled to be phased out in favor of the newer, fancier Seawolf class submarines. But only 3 Seawolf subs were ever built of the 29 originally planned, leaving the Los Angeles intact as the Navy's primary fast attack submarine. And yet, the Navy still hopes to retire the Cold War-era Los Angeles, this time with the Virginia-class submarine. 22 Virginias have already been completed, with the most advanced Block 5 variants currently under construction. The Virginia is scheduled to serve until the 2070s or so.
Okay, so those are our subs. I know me and William done a lot of ships. We've done the aircraft carriers and ground troops and everything. But now we took a look at our submarines, and these are off the coast. They say, according to the report, there are thousands of Marines and sailors on board of, and also nuclear-powered submarines and submarines somewhere in the waters below. Of course, we're not going to say where they're at. No, we don't do that. Israel forces reportedly surrounded 3 separate hospitals in the northern part of the Gaza Strip now. That was as of this morning, where they say Hamas militants are hiding. The level of destruction that is happening in Gaza is fierce. Buildings are crumbling, and they're also trying to get to the tunnels. Israel renewed their strikes against, they say they're going back over some of the tunnels, because some of them they have now found have went to other long tunnels where they're thinking hostages may be found. Now, what they are finding out is that they are running into less and less civilians and running into just Hamas terrorists. Israel says 37 of their soldiers in total have been killed in the battle in the ground portion of the operation. They push deeper into Gaza. They're targeting Hamas elite nuke forces that participated in the October 7th massacre. They've killed a number of company commanders and also platoon commanders from Hamas who were partly responsible for that slaughter. They're engaging in gun battles inside Gaza City, and they continue airstrikes against different Hamas tunnels in different portions of it, and the different positions throughout Gaza. Now, mind you, they say there's 300 miles of tunnels, and they're trying to do it strategically to push them out of the openings and maybe be able to surround them enough to go ahead and take them out or find their hostages. Now, the Hamas tunnel positions through Gaza, those strikes overnight shaking the ground as Israelis are looking to Hamas above and below ground and to get more civilians out and out of the way. Evacuation corridor for the Palestinians go to the southern part. Gaza yesterday said the military says 80,000 very, very nice Palestinians took to that corridor, and now all of this comes as the attacks continue from Iran proxies. And it's not just against Israel, but it's against American forces. Dozens of the attacks have taken place against Americans. Mostly, they say now, more of the strikes from Hezbollah happening in both Iraq and Syria. The United States announced yesterday there will be a 4-hour pause in fighting, but Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said they're doing that in a way. They're doing a ceasefire as the humanitarian aid is brought in, and as soon as it's unloaded, then they restart. And they said, according to Netanyahu, he said this is simply not happening. He thinks the way he was talking, it was like Biden's on drugs. He says there's not going to be a 4-hour pause. He says it's not happening. So the ceasefire with Hamas means surrender, is what he says. And there won't be a ceasefire without the release of all of the hostages. Not just a couple like they wanted to do for a ceasefire. They were talking maybe 5, maybe even more, they said. But Benjamin Netanyahu says it's not good enough. We want all of them. Let them go. And then we'll think about a ceasefire. But there's probably not going to be a ceasefire. But he did say, Rachel of Tlaib, the river to the sea, means there's no Israel from Jordan River to the Mediterranean, which means no Israel. And I went, if anybody went back and looked at the words to that, it's for Psalm 137, I believe. I don't hold me to that number. I'm bad with numbers. But I believe it's Psalm 137. And I went through, and you can't just grab verses. You just can't grab verses out of the Bible, folks, because, and many preachers do this, and I don't want to get biblical, but when you grab just a little piece of it, what's before it and what's after? Well, when you start looking before and after, boy, it sure changes the meaning of from the river to the sea. And it's during the Babylonian days when they scooped up a lot of Christians. And those out of Jerusalem and took them to Babylon. It makes a lot of sense when you read it like that. Yeah. Okay. And he said, Netanyahu said he's glad that they did censor her. That it was creating um, conflict around the globe, and that no other country should go through this what they're doing there, even though it's not war. He said, if this needs to stop, and that he's glad that it was the vote was good. Um, Air Force support. Um, the basically the Pentagon now has confirmed 46 attack carried out. Um, the Israelis are using military units and their air force to support infantry troops inside Gaza. Um, they say the media reports 3 hospitals in Gaza, Syria, are currently surrounded, and they believe that Hamas fighters inside the complex. But what it is, it's not inside; it's underneath. They say, and though there's still patients inside, thousands, um, and thousands of Palestinians still not heeding the warnings to leave. They said some of the patients in the hospital they will be moving, and they don't have the ability to be able to do this overnight. So they have it surrounded, and they're not sure if surrounding the hospitals is a good thing, because if Hamas decides to fire one of their rockets next to the hospitals, of course, it is Israel going to shoot back? More than likely not. They said they're starting to watch the the um, the exact area to where they're shooting the rockets and the missiles and the mortars back. Uh, they say they have killed a number of members of the Hamas elite Nuka forces. Um, they say close to 80, like I said, 80,000 Palestinians took the evacuation route when they were able to do so. And the thing that got the soldiers was the amount of people that just all of a sudden were running, almost running to get out, and claiming they were used as human shields. So, and human shields, not by Israelis, but by their own Hamas, the ones they voted in. They're very disheartened. And now the Palestinians have said maybe they need to change who the leaders and the the position they're going to take against Hamas when would they get Gaza back. I don't know if they're going to get Gaza back. And Netanyahu is even saying maybe it's not a good idea that Israel goes in and takes it over, because it's only going to cause a rift around the world, and it could make things worse. But we can't put the UN in charge, so who's going to take over? Gaza. To me, just give it to Israel. And if they want to put a little area for the Palestinians, they can make that decision once again. That's on them. So, boy. So I'm going to get on with this news because I got a bunch of it. I didn't want to go this long with the update on Israel. 70 Republicans reward weaponizing FBI with $300 million gift. Why are they giving the FBI money? Imagine voting to reward the FBI. Well, I mean, what have they been doing? They've been lying. They've been. I would like to look at their financial records for the FBI, see where the money's going. I mean, is it going in the right places? Because we can't really trust them now. 70 Republicans did that, joining 203 Democrats in defeating a measure that would have denied FBI a sprawling new headquarters. They want a new headquarters. So what's wrong with the one they got? I mean, we could put them in a football field for all I care. The shameful vote occurred the same day the FBI agents appeared in force in a small town of Helmeta, New Jersey, to serve an arrest warrant to Gregory Yetman, who allegedly pepper sprayed Capitol Police in Washington, D.C. They don't even got to do that. Why are they going to kick in doors, drag them out? Won't they just bang on the door like you see on most of the cop shows and say, "Hey, come on out"? No, the situation like this, of course, brings heightened anxiety. It's not normal to see the FBI agents with vehicles and tanks. What? Tanks? Yeah. For someone that was walking around the Capitol on January 6th. Oh, yeah. Boy. The FBI manhunt and tanks for a guy who used pepper spray. Yep. What do we call that? Overkill, William? Is that overkill? I'm thinking this is overkill. Can you imagine if they would have done that to Roger Stone? They showed up at his house with a tank. I bet he'd wet his pants. I don't know. Okay. Oh, it's Friday. I could tell. All right. So yeah, let's hear some good news. You know, they did Buttigieg and they put him down to paying him $1. Well, guess who they want to get next? Well, Congress introduces an amendment to slash JP salary. Yeah, they introduced a bill, House Resolution 4664, and a bill to fund government through the current fiscal year. But then they said, wait a minute. That would reduce President Joe Biden's press secretary salary to what? A whopping $1. Oh, ouch. Yeah, Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary, $1. Yeah. I mean, that's why I mentioned Buttigieg. Buttigieg? I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah. They did that because she has been caught lying for the president, or is it untrue facts that she has stated? Condescending manner to rude behavior and manner towards reporters, and that is a violation of the Hatch Act. You're going to use the Hatch Act to get her. They put her pay to $1. What do you think, Karen? I'm loving this. Yeah. You know, when they asked her, she said there was no comment on this. Now, she might have said something today, but boy, they're going to go after her. Remember I said, last couple days, I said, I think they're going to replace her. And because something isn't right lately with her. Something's off. And more of reporters getting very aggressive with her, and she's spouting, and she's losing her temper really quick. I thought, I wonder what's up with her. And I'm thinking, yeah, they're going to replace her. Well, they may replace her. It's a good possibility. Would you work for $1? Well, maybe she deserves it. All right, onward. I got to get through this list. Okay, so China unveils a plan to mass produce human-like robots, calling it the new engine for growth. The goal is to establish a framework for humanoid robots that ensure that the country can make a core parts of robots on its own. The products under MIIT plan will meet advanced international standards in quality for use in harsh environments, manufacturing, and service sectors. According to the directives, like smartphones, computers, and new energy vehicles, humanoid robots have a disruptive potential revolutionize people's lives. That's what the document said. Beijing hopes that by 2025 they'll have two or three companies with global influence and will nurture the smaller business dedicated field. It will replace humans, it says. It would be more accurate than a human, make less mistakes, and this would be good for manufacturing, not only manufacturing, but even big stores that have stock issues. Yeah. Uh, uh, the brain, the cerebellum, and limbs of the robot should be the focus. And the industry should aim at creating highly reliable robots for harsh, dangerous conditions. They're even talking about they can even stand their ground uh, as a SWAT or police or Capitol Police during riots. I bet you they arm them. I bet you they're going to arm them. So, yeah. So that's what China's up to. Um, um, Now, hundreds of miles from the southern border, and Americans find themselves victim of violent crimes, and we've known this by repeat offenders entering the United States. Uh, ICE enforcement removal operations in Newark. Agents recently arrested a Mexican national in Bridgeton, New Jersey, that was convicted on endangering sexual conduct with a child. That gave the state judge um, uh, A state judge gave Mexican national 3 year suspended prison sentence and supervised parole for life. What? He's been removed 3 times. This individual is a clear danger to the communities and multiple illegal reentries. But according to the policies, they have to do it this way. His first arrest was in April 2016. Then he was arrested in July of 2017, a fourth time, June 2019. So yeah, he's got let's see, the fifth arrest, May of 2022, and then now they convicted him in March of 2023, and now again, oh yeah, uh, October 30th in Temple Hills, Maryland. They issued a notice to appear before the department. Um, okay, notice to appear before the Department of Justice immigration judge, and he remains ICE Euro custody pending his removal proceedings. Um, but we hear about this all the time. Where we arrest them, we send them back, they cross over. We send them back, we arrest them, they send them back over. What's really disheartening is when they find, uh, let's say, someone from Iran, and he's not necessarily wanted, but he's in fatigues. They caught him with guns, and of course, they're just going to throw him through the system, and he just needs to show up before the judge on the time set. Most of them aren't even showing up. Why would they? They're terrorists. They're terrorists. Okay. Um, and not only that, but on the border, more Americans are victimized along our borders than like small communities in Texas. I mean, there's hundreds of them. How many is too many? That's the same way with the whole um, um, removing. Now, get this: the cartel is on the border and they're patrolling it like our border patrol is. But when one of the other rival cartels shows up, they're shooting at one another for the control of the border. But they are patrolling the border. What's up? What's up? Now, this one here, I was glad to hear because me and William has mentioned the Geneva Convention. Ex Israel ambassador to the US calls for Nuremberg style trials for Hamas terrorists who attacked Israel. Don't just charge them and put them in prison. Why can't we do the Nuremberg uh, trial? Why can't we use that on them? The state commissioner and the Nuremberg type trial, I think, is definitely called for. Oren said on Thursday. Um, they think the American television has to rule out broadcasting the recordings of interrogations or the aftermath. But you should know, I've when you start looking at them, it's chilling. It's horrifying to listen to these people talk um, about what they did and what they were told to do. And they were ordered to do this, they say. The terrorist group Hamas carried out an attack on Israel in which over 1,000 civilians died or dying. Um, so are they going to start, or are they really going to do this and follow it through? We don't know. But they should. They really should. If this is what we hit Hitler with, but of course he ended up dead. But we had two other spies they hit him up with. That was in this country, a man and a woman. Boy, William is, I don't even know if William's in here. They hit up a couple back in the 50s, I believe, with this, and they threw the book at them. And then, of course, we found out today that, or yesterday, that Comer has subpoenaed Hunter Biden, um, James Biden, and uh, uh, I think 20 others. 20 others I've heard. So it looks like they're going to pull that in, and it's going to start rolling out some convictions. Hopefully, hopefully. Um, Joe Manchin ain't going to it's not going to go for a reelection. He's independent. So what happens? Most of the time he did agree with the Republican Party, and he feels that he has been harassed and subjected to attacks when he doesn't vote the way the Democrats think he should vote. So what he's going to do is he's going to go ahead and resign, and we're not going to see him anymore. Pentagon is starting to restrict the flow of military and aid and money to oh boy, to Ukraine. I just wanted to make sure. So Israel now seemingly snarled up beyond repair in Congress. On Thursday, the Pentagon said that funding delays have forced the U.S. to begin restricting the flow of military assistance to Ukraine, and that it only has about $1 billion left to replenish and stock weapons that were sent to the country and sent to them personally. Well, who sent them? I think they're going to find that out too, as well as Burisma and the business companies that James and Hunter Biden had over in China. Boy, It sounds like they're starting. The chips are falling, and I hope they do. Um, let me get through this. Um, Now, the World Health Organization, they've been kind of quiet, but then they became very anti Semitic and portrays Hamas run Gaza as cutesy kids paradise before the Israel bombing. They were like, they're just kids. They're harmless. But look at the destruction they did. Huh. All right, onward. Um, cutesy though, a World Health Organization. What's his name? Let me. Um, always like to get his name. Um, it's not saying, huh? I know you guys would recognize if you've seen his picture. Uh, and his response was the World Health Organization legacy is one of devastation and its purpose treaties that would give advance dystopian to world and globalist. It's but it's it's an unreliable source, and they tend to take the people over the terrorist group that is oppressing the people. So that's what it says. Um, World Health Organization needs to take a look and see what they're doing, what they're talking about. Arab Semitic. Oh, I read that one. Out of the censorship ashes rise, and Washington SOS. Very disturbing. They found powdery substance found in 2 of 4 envelopes sent to the state elections, and it's fentanyl. Um, uh, these incidents, and so when I seen that, I said, "Well, I thought this was just one." No, come to find out, there's quite a few that they do this to. I had to find it on my uh, my notes. Um, They had similar incidents in 2 countries, including August 1st under primary um, election, with one envelope also containing trace amounts of fentanyl. Uh, don't touch your face. Don't try to get off of it. Big time. Just try. It's easier than heroin or alcohol, and um, lime isn't going to keep them away. Salt. More and more people are reaching out to uh, be able to help. All right, I'm going to keep going. Um, Out of the ashes, the government censorship rises, a swing state of election. Now, the FCC, this was back, oh boy, Karen, this was even before I met you, was making laws when the internet and YouTube first started coming out, and all these social media, Facebook, and all that start coming out. And the FCC decided they were going to hold a hearing, and whose hands should they put uh, decisions of the internet. And lo and behold, they gave it to China. And then, of course, China is saying they need to raise the prices, and so that the weak we can separate the weak and poor from the middle class and even Christians. Wow. So, Karen, I think this is a little more than what you heard, you and Linda. But now, what they're going to do is the government wants to take over of the internet for the states. More than likely, I have to go and see uh, that Jinping will have the rest of the world. So I'll have like an apartment and a deck, and anyway, I'm not going to go off on that. Anyway, so the government censorship rises. Okay, so what they're going to do is they're going to start cutting people. The maybe I should have had Karen on or Linda. Instead of unconstitutional effort, which was started up under Trump, um, administration, Department of Homeland Security almost exclusively targeted conservatives. And they did that. Okay, they did. They admitted it. And even when they were doing these hearings and asking Weiss, he was even saying that he was being told to do things. So now they were talking about putting it back in the hands of China, but more restrictions. But they're saying that there's a good possibility that our government will be taking over the internet. And they're supposed to be looking at a vote or some hearings on this. And if they do, what are they going to do? What are they going to do to us? Are they going to charge us more? And that was one of the things they wanted to do back a few years back when they wanted to charge um, us for the internet on a tax to be able to use it. And they were saying no, because it was unfair, because we pay for our internet and we are being charged for it. So they backed off on it. But now with control, they want to do a federal tax. Um, there's a lot to this. The FCC has got documents on it if you want to go look. Um, so um, there's a good possibility. Now, I was upset when they gave everything, the FCC gave the internet to the China, but they did it in the middle of the night. That's what got me. But here, it would be the middle of the night. Over there, it would be daytime. I don't know if that's why it happened, but not many Americans showed up to fight for China not getting a hold of the internet services. So in a way, that's where a lot of the restrictions and problems we're having. Now, what I'm thinking is the government will move in and use what I'm hit with the community standards. Um, uh, so and then penalize us by the feds or take our individual rights away. That's just something, a little bit of something. Yeah. The government says it's a nonprofit industry task force. I think they're full of it. I think they're really full of it. They have been wanting to silence us like they do in China for a very, very long time. Okay. Um, uh, okay. Hezbollah arrest in Brazil, of all places. Highlight decades long Iranian terror presence in Latin America, but nobody really knew about it until they recently got caught. The recent arrest of Paulo, two individuals to reportedly tied to Hezbollah, has put the spotlight on growing influence in Iran and Islamic regime funded terrorist organization such as Hezbollah in Latin America. even going as far as Colombia. Now, we knew Colombia had a bunch of issues back during the Clinton years, and they're thinking that's kind of when they started seeing an uptick of issues of gangs or very vicious gangs. I mean, look at what's in El Salvador with MS-13. I mean, mm, what is it called? Oh boy, it's not MS-13. Yeah, it is MS-13. Um, Nancy hugging on them, and they had been going down there over and over and over again about their corruption, and now 2 arrests with individuals are now facing over 15 years in prison. They were plotting to carry out terrorist attacks, not only on Christians in Brazil, but they were also talking about starting on the Jewish people in Brazil. And they were hunting out, trying to figure out who were the Christians, who were the Jewish people. And so now they have stopped their plot. Okay, folks, that is it. We got trivia coming up, and I had a lot more news. I just can't go no further with this. So, boy, uh, happy Friday. Get a movie, go to the movies. I looked through the trailers and there's some pretty good ones. If you like going to the movies, and hit an early matinee. Sometimes they have popcorn specials you could get. If not, Redbox. And if not, just find, like I did today, I watched 2 great Westerns on TV. So I love the Westerns on the weekends. I can watch the dumbest, oldest Westerns and just laugh at the way they act, or sometimes they're really, really good. They had The Gambler on. It's like, no, I don't want to watch The Gambler. Let's watch something good. And it's not always John Wayne or even Clint Eastwood. There's one with Gregory Peck in it. Boy, that's a oldie. All right, folks. We got trivia coming on, and it's entertainment and things. Entertainment and things. So come on back in about 10 minutes for some trivia, and we'll have some fun, and a great way to end the week. So with that, subscribe and hit the like button. And oh boy, I'm looking to see which one I was going to use. I got a lot of endings now, and I hope you guys are really enjoying them. So subscribe, hit the like button, thumbs up. Well, I got to make sure it's on the screen. And if you aren't getting notified, then hit the bell, and follow and like over in Facebook. So with that, we will see you on Monday, or we will see you in about 15 minutes for some trivia.